there goes the train to Nagoya. So talking of the train to Nagoya, I'm actually driving up there today to run an errand. Bit of a pain in the butt actually, because usually I take the train up to Nagoya because I don't like to drive in big cities really if I can help it, and the train's just so much better. But on this occasion I decided that I didn't want to spend all that money on basically an express train to run a basic errand. So yeah, it's a nice day out, so some nice scenery, and hopefully you can have a look at a couple of second-hand stores on the way back as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit off the cuff, I'll be honest, but hey, that's kind of what you're interested in, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to get going though, because otherwise I'll be late. Is a really good reason why understanding some Japanese when you drive is quite important. So you can see it's got Mei Kosoku Senyo Shingo. So basically that's telling you that this is just for this slip road or ramp that I'm on at the moment. Not so much a problem there, but the one that's directly ahead of us now that's green, if you can't read that Japanese and you're joining the road where I am just now, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? I don't think we're meant to go left here, according to the sat-nav, but we'll do it anyway. I'm going to concentrate now because this is not Nabari anymore. 30 minutes, 300 yen. And it's got spaces. £200 for 25 minutes. That's probably all we need. Yosh. Heijitsu, Getsuyobi, Kinyobi, Doyobi wa 100. Oh, that's even better. 100 yen for 20 minutes. Me learning Japanese has been a hard-won thing and has required a huge amount of effort, determination and patience, but it pays off in the end for being able to get around Japan with relative ease. So it does seem to be a bit strange to just basically immediately leave downtown Nagoya as soon as I arrive, but like I say, it was just an errand. Yeah, I'm going to be heading back out of town in the direction of home. So we're going to have a look at a couple of second-hand stores at some point this evening. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've eaten anything that's not cornflakes today, as I've only had a bowl of cereal, and it's now 25 to 6 in the evening. Didn't intend on fasting today, but there you go. Shizo onigiri and a custard cream sort of pastry thing from Family Mart, which is usually pretty good. So just going to eat that and then carry on my way. Last place for today. Not expecting much because I came here about a year or so ago when I first moved down to Miera, in fact. Yeah, I'm not really expecting that much because I have rifled through here before, and I don't really expect a ton of games to have been traded in the meantime, but you never know. No, I know. Well, it's a really beautiful evening here. It's Friday, so that means that I get to have some downtime. Just enjoying my post-work coffee and just been reading the Goof Troop manual because I want to play that at some point this weekend. Yeah, just chilling out. Anyway, tonight I'm going to play the couple of purchases that I made last weekend when I went to Nagoya. The first one that I picked up was Penguin Land for the Game Boy for 700 yen. That's a really good price for that. It goes for at least double that in most places now. So glad I held out for that one. It was the only one that they had, so yeah, it's a bit of a classic. It was on other systems. I think it was on the SG-1000 and then the Mark III or the Master System. And coincidentally, the other game that I picked up was another Penguin-related one. This is Binaryland from Hudson Soft. And this is, yeah, just a really cute sort of single-screen sort of arcade-style game. Quite an early one for the Famicom, 1985. 500 yen, which is about as good as you're going to get for this game in this condition. It's not perfect, but then what do you expect for something that's nearly 40 years old? I've only got to look at myself in the mirror to realise that nothing from the early 80s is in good condition anymore. But yeah, no, this is another really fun game. I've played it on my EverDrive, but I've wanted to pick up a physical copy for a while now, so not the most expensive purchases there. Was that total of 1200 yen spent, so yeah, I'm just going to enjoy my coffee and yeah, enjoy some games. By the end of 1985, the Famicom was definitely riding high on its boom years, but it doesn't mean to say that every game released of the system was a stone cold classic. In fact, some of the developers and publishers that we still hold in very high regard were producing some pretty awful games for the system at the time. Hudson Soft generally had avoided this problem. Their first game for the system was the rather amusingly called Nuts and Milk, which is a fantastic single-screen arcade-style game. But Binaryland is very much in the same vein of that, and was released at the end of 1985. The idea of the game is to guide the two characters, Gurin and Malon, to the centre where a heart is locked in a cage. But the knack of this game is that whilst you're in control of one of the penguins, for example the green penguin Gurin, Malon will actually move in the opposite directions, she being the pink penguin. So if you push right, Malon in this case will move to the left. Of course you can choose to play as Malon and basically it'll be Gurin that's moving in the opposite directions. Of course you have to get the two penguins just so that they can meet directly in the middle. You can't be slightly off, otherwise they'll just overlap each other. So it does require some precision, and of course you have to be aware of what the other penguin is doing, because if they get caught by a spider, it's not game over, but you lose a life at least. And of course if you've run out of lives, of course it's game over. The other thing you have to be careful of is the spider webs. Now, if you guide your character that you're not directly controlling into one, it's not really game over. In fact, actually sometimes it can help, because it means that they're then invulnerable to the effects of the spiders and other effects on the screen. But otherwise, yeah, you want to generally avoid ending up in the spider webs if you're the directly controlled character, because otherwise you could find yourself basically losing a life. But otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward game. It's got a few extra little bonus levels and sprinkled in between various stages. There's a few little hidden items to boost your points. And there's also a bird that appears from about stage 8 or 9 onwards, which, if you hit it, will reverse your character you're controlling. It's definitely well worth picking up. It's not overly expensive, generally retailing for somewhere between about 800 to 1,000 yen for a good condition copy, maybe slightly more in some places, so finding this for 500 yen was a pretty good deal overall. So the second and final game that I picked up for 700 yen was Penguin Land for the Game Boy. This was released in 1990 and was ported by Atelier Double. That's just how the katakana is written for the company name. Yes, it might be pronounced slightly different in its native language, but when it comes to Japan, you just use the katakana rendering. Anyway, so yeah, released by Pony Canyon. This is pretty much a port of the earlier Doki Doki Penguin Land for the Sega SG-1000, which was released back in 1985. So a little bit of a connection with the release year of Binaryland there. But it's a really good puzzle game. It's quite tough, but actually that's quite a good thing, because it means that it's actually got a bit of longevity in it. The objective of the game is that basically you're playing a character which is a penguin, and you're trying to guide your egg down to the safety of your home, which is presumably under the Antarctic ice. But along the way there are various hazards, including polar bears and a bird that will drop bricks or something like a girder from a height, which could smash or crush your egg, as well as other hazards such as you yourself walking over your egg when it's trapped and it hasn't got anywhere to go, leading to it being cracked. And also if you let the egg drop from too great a height, likewise the egg will crack. So yeah, it's a pretty simple, straightforward game in terms of the objective, but it's actually quite tough because obviously you've got various different ledges to contend with. Obviously roll it too far, it might get crushed by a falling block. Likewise you could find yourself being assailed by the polar bear, which I'm not quite sure how that's got to the Antarctic, but anyway, let's just give that a pass. You know, you could find yourself basically running out of time because you're being attacked and you can't obviously tend to your egg's needs. But anyway, once you clear a stage, you get this ridiculously cute little animation sequence where your little penguin gets very happy and starts flapping presumably his little wings and all the rest of it. So I don't know what that's meant to suggest. Maybe Mr. Penguin thinks he's going to be in luck that night. But anyway, so maybe that's where he's getting the eggs from. But anyway, so yeah, pretty straightforward games in terms of the overall objective. But yeah, certainly not an easy one to crack. Anyway, puns aside, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I like the fact that you can just choose the stage without having to go through all the stages you've already cleared. You can just go straight in where you left off, because this doesn't have a battery backup, this particular game. It's a pretty straightforward Game Boy release, this one. And you've also got the bonus of 3 pretty good little tracks to listen to as well, so you can sort of change it up a little bit between play sessions. But otherwise, yeah, this is a pretty solid early release for the Game Boy. I think the only thing that I would say that is a slight knock against the game is that compared to the SG-1000 and likewise the later Mark III or Master System sequel, is that when you scroll past the halfway point or you start to drop down through the layers of the stage, there will be sort of like a moment where your inputs will not be registered as the screen either scrolls or pans left or right, and it just gets a little bit it breaks up the flow of gameplay, I suppose, is what I can say about that. But otherwise, it doesn't really cause too many problems, and I've certainly seen many more annoying things in Game Boy games over the years. So, yeah, overall, pretty solid pickup. I would recommend it, but yeah, the difficulty is reasonably tough. But as long as you've got a bit of patience, I think you'll enjoy this one. Well, that will just about do it for this rather ragbag of a video. Yeah, I thought it would be a little bit interesting just to show you some of, well, the environments in Japan that I now live in, because I haven't really shown you a great deal of the more local area, shall we say, of Mie and Nabari itself, and just to show you a little bit of some gaming as well, because I do actually enjoy the games that I pick up. So yeah, really awesome little pickups to the collection. Anyway, it'd be lovely to hear what you thought about the video down in the comments. But otherwise, I hope you're all keeping well, and I'll see you in another one of these. Take care, bye-bye.